welcome to another exciting episode of In Conversation with Alethia. I'm your host, Alethia O'Hara-Stephenson. In each episode, I sit down with incredible individuals who are doing amazing things. This episode is no different. I am extremely honored to have an entrepreneur, a businessman, no one other than the incredible Sheldon Sterling. He is the founder and president of 4S Electrical, and he has been doing some amazing things in our communities. And it is my honor and pleasure to have him on In Conversation with Alethia. Welcome, Sheldon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. I am super excited to dive into this conversation. And yes, you are the founder of 4S Electrical, but before we even get to 4S Electrical, share a little bit more about who Sheldon is.
Oh, wow. Who am I? Just a guy that grew up in Pickering, Ontario. Got into the electrical field as soon as I got out of high school, mainly just because I didn't want to pay bills. So
okay, that's fair.
I wanted to go to school to actually be a cop, police officer. Yeah, so I knew I wanted to do something in the community or for the community.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't, want to go to school and have bills and whatnot. So I went right into the trade and stuck with it ever since I was almost 18.
That's incredible. And so you've been able to transition from high school into the trades, and you've been now able to branch out on your own, establishing your own company. What was that journey like? And I understand that you also have a family, so I'm sure that legacy building component had a role to play in it as well. But share with us about that journey from working in the electrical business to starting your own company.
Yeah, the transition wasn't easy per se, but I had to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Did I really want to continue making money for other people when I knew the aspect of the business, when I knew the hands-on aspect of the business as well?
Right.
Being in the field for, at the time, it was close to 20 years when
Wow.
I finally did the jump to open my own business. So having two little girls,
Mm-hmm.
it was tough, but I had a great supporting staff in my wife.
Amazing.
And then her family was also been exponential in that transition. But just having the knowledge to back me up and the drive, of course, it made it happen. Like we together as my family
Mm-hmm.
and myself having the passion for the work that I do, we just made it happen. We forced our way through.
Amazing. And you touched on the incredible support of your wife and your wife's family, and it's so important when you're an entrepreneur and you're venturing out there, it's a lot of long hours.
Oh, yes.
So how did you manage to find the time and that balance, navigating family and building a successful business? How did you balance that?
It was, like I said, it's not easy, that's for sure. But when you sit down at the end of the day with my wife and we make that decision before, because she's also in the not electrical, she's in the construction field as well.
Amazing.
So she knew the hours that I'd be getting into, and you got to make sure that we have these conversations before and we decide together
Mm-hmm.
that I was going to pursue this. So
Mm-hmm.
the long hours, she was there with the kids to make sure that they were taken care of, and any time that I was able to be around the kids. So for example, we try not to, and for any builders or developers out there, we try not to, but we will work Saturdays and Sundays and weekends and whatnot. But I wanted to aim my company towards a more family-oriented one.
Amazing.
So we try not to work the weekend so we can spend that time together. So if I'm working 12, 16-hour days,
Mm-hmm.
I at least have the weekends to see them grow. Like I don't want to miss that portion of their lives, right? So yeah, it was a hairy one, but when you have the support, like I said, it's all possible.
Right.
She made it real easy for me.
Amazing, amazing. Sounds like I need to interview her
I
as
think you
well.
might
This
have
is incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing, yes.
Wonderful. And shout out to all of the women who are, anchoring and supporting their men, husbands,
Absolutely.
partners on their entrepreneurial journey. I think it is so critically important, especially when you're raising a family to have that support system there.
Right.
I want to touch on a little bit about, again, just your background and transitioning from, again, high school and finding that courage to pursue something different, right? It would have been, I assume, very easy to transition into sports or, the typical basketball, track, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? But you found the courage to step out of I'm going to say the comfort zone, the narrow lane, and do something bold and different electrical. What was that experience like? I'm sure you would have been probably one of very few individuals in that field who looked like you. What was that like?
Actually, you're absolutely right. When I made when I decided to do the jump into construction, a lot of my colleagues, a lot of my friends were jumping into financial or computers, and down the road, I'd find them in the trade. Like after graduating from high school, you fall off from the people that aren't your close friends, but the people that you know. And there's a handful of them that went to school for financing or the computer technology courses that ended up leaving it because a lot of people nowadays the information's out there. Back then, they weren't advertising construction and how much you could make a career out of it, right?
Yeah.
So I consider myself fortunate to have had that avenue and jump into it where people got this information late and jumped into the trade after.
Nice.
So I got my roots in the ground early. But like you were saying, that in order to do sports and all that stuff, typically you have to have your family background to help you out with that. I unfortunately did not. Growing up in foster care, it sucked. I'm not gonna lie. It was a background that I do not wish on my worst enemy, to be honest.
Right.
So being able to come from that and see where I am now, that's also the motivation drive behind it. So
wow.
Yeah, the people that I grew up with always constantly telling you can't, and me having the willpower to say I can and prove them wrong.
That is powerful. I mean, for someone having to transition or navigate being in foster care, to here you are now as a successful entrepreneur, a father, and so many other titles that you hold, it takes a lot of courage. And what helped you to maintain that courage throughout your journey? I mean, I think you haven't hit your pinnacle yet.
No,
right?
You're absolutely right. I haven't, and I'm still working on it. But I had two brothers. I have two brothers that also helped me through the stages before I met my wife. So whenever there was somewhere to lean on when I didn't have a place to stay, I had my older or younger brother be like, Sheldon, come stay with me. Like my older brother Mike and my younger brother Jermaine, they've also had my back. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them as well. Yeah, it's now thinking of it, I'm almost gonna draw a tear just because these guys have been so influential into where I came.
Incredible. Well, shout out to big brother and younger brother for having your back. That's incredible. And again, I titled the show Family First, right? And you're speaking exactly to that. The support from your two brothers and the support from your wife and her family, and being that backbone for you is incredible, and I think we need to celebrate that more.
Absolutely,
right?
You're absolutely right. It's funny how you say we need to celebrate that more. Nowadays, because of I haven't reached the pinnacle yet. I've been grinding, trying to get as many contracts, trying to get the name out there, and now it's come to a point where the name is out there, and I'm getting summoned. I'm getting called to bid on jobs. So it's like, okay, I can bid on this job, or I can go see my brother that lives half hour away or 40 minutes away, or my nieces and nephews, and it's hard. It sucks because I'm still the driving force behind the company, and until I have people that I could pay to do it, I'm still going to be that person. It's more because my company is also another baby of mine, another child.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to make sure it's growing properly and nourished and whatnot. So it is hard not seeing the family when I want to, but true family, when you do see them, it's like you never left.
Yes.
It's like you just saw them yesterday. And my brothers and my wife and her family are exactly like that.
Amazing. I love that. And, you touched on the fact that you're able to pick up contracts from, people are now reaching out to you.
Yep.
How has that opportunity been like for you to now watch your company grow, and you have people now reaching out saying, hey, Sheldon, Forest Electrical, come and give us an estimate. What has that journey been like for you? The feeling, the emotions?
Exciting.
Yeah.
There's no other feeling besides the initial the initial email that comes out saying, we've heard about you, can you bid on this job? The first thing I do, I'll send it to my wife and be like, hey, look, we just got summoned.
Celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. And what we do to celebrate is I'm a whiskey fan. I like my whiskey. I'm not gonna say I'm a connoisseur, but what we do is we get a bottle, and we don't open that bottle until we lock in the contract. But it's another way of motivating myself to say, not that I need the bottle, but it'd be nice to have that initial cheers after you land the contract. That's always a great feeling after as well.
And that's important, right? Because you're celebrating your wins. You're celebrating every accomplishment, every success, no matter how small.
Absolutely.
And it's that pillar for, that rainy day when sometimes things may not go your way, but you can look back at those moments that you're able to hold that whiskey glass up with your wife and say, you know what, babe, we did it. So yeah. I think that's absolutely incredible and absolutely important for you to celebrate. And the fact that you're doing it, kudos to you and family.
Thank you.
I want to touch on, level of excellence. I know in some of the interviews that you've done in the past, you talk about excellence. How do you maintain that level of excellence throughout your career and all the things that you do?
The customer service aspect. That is absolutely crucial in any company. There's tons of electrical companies out there, like thousands, I would say, in the GTA area alone. So it's one thing to get the job. It's another thing to finish the job without any complaints or minimal complaints,
right?
In order to get the next one, right? You don't want to just finish the job, okay, I got paid from that, and move on to the next. You want to make sure that your customers are happy all the time. It's tough. It is hard because you can't please every single client the same way. You have to navigate, see what each one's niches are. But for me, our customer service, that's where we try to set ourselves above the rest.
Amazing, amazing. And now, when you started that initial journey, landing, opening up your own company, what steps did you have to take? Because I imagine you have to be certified, with an organization to operate and land these contracts.
Yeah, so you first have to become a journeyman electrician, which takes years. I think they either reduce the hour. You have to go to school for longer now, but the amount of hours it might be the same, but it takes about 6 years roughly to do it, and that's when you start your apprenticeship. That doesn't even count the hours before.
Okay.
So the pre-apprenticeship and all that. But once you get your 309A Red Seal certificate, you're still required to wait 2 years before you write your master's electrical license, which gives you the opportunity to open your own electrical contracting company.
Wow.
Yeah, so then there's the insurance that you have to get, there's the WSIB that you have to get, there's a few components that you have to make sure that you get before you start these projects to make sure that you're covered. And a lot of people out there, they either don't know or they want to cut corners and cheat.
Right.
Where we get calls even today to go fix work that was done by other electricians because they weren't qualified.
Right, okay.
And there's a lot of that going around where people want electrical work done, but they don't. I'm not going to lie, it comes down to finance. People see the prices and somebody else goes and underbids it because they don't have the bills that we might have with all the stuff that we have to pay for in order to maintain all that.
Okay.
Case in point, their license.
Amazing.
So you just got to be careful when you hire an electrician.
This is exciting. I love this. The fact that you're Red Seal certified and your master's certificate, it is inspiring, and thank you for sharing. We're going to take a short break and come back and pick up the conversation with Sheldon Sterling from 4S Electrical after the short break. Welcome back to In Conversation with Alethia. I'm in the studio with Sheldon Sterling, founder and CEO of 4S Electrical. Sheldon, so we left off talking about, being a Red Seal certified, entrepreneur in the trades business. And I want to now jump into some of the different challenges that you've had to face as an entrepreneur, as an electrician in your field. Any challenges? Challenges
would be finding the right customer. Well, not finding, but making sure they're the right ones. We've had our issues where companies claim to be on the rise and get all this work and they try to manipulate you to make sure that you're taking care of them and not others, and then meanwhile they're falling back in payments, and
Okay.
it just gets a little messy. We've had our share in 2023 last year where we had to drop a client because they got so far behind in dues. We don't want to do that. Like we want to make sure that when we start a job, we finish it. But when you get 6 months behind in pay, yeah, it hurts because I'm carrying the job. I'm paying for material. I'm paying my guys. And in the end, I end up suffering, and then my family ends up suffering, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
I want to make sure that the client is reputable and make sure that when they get their invoices, they pay. Aside from clients, I think the number one thing is, because that would be number two. The number one thing would be your employees. Trying to find good, dedicated electricians or laborers that share the same passion as you.
Absolutely.
Willing to learn, trying to better themselves, and because when they better themselves, they better the company. It gets us more work, right?
Absolutely.
And then essentially it gets them a raise or maybe a bonus. You know, you never know. But it is hard to try to navigate yourself through and filter out the people that you know are going to be stars,
right,
and the people that are just there to run your company down, essentially, which
absolutely
sucks.
Now, I'm curious, do you have any mentorship opportunities where you're bringing on, young Sheldon, just leaving high school and considering, the trades? Do you have some of those opportunities with the organization?
We actually recently, and as recent as January of this year, we were, Centennial College actually reached out to us.
Amazing.
To start, to take on some of their kids that do their programs,
right,
their pre-apprenticeship programs. And yes, we've had some I can't call them electricians yet because they're not.
Fair.
But we've had some of their students come in and try out the electrical trade, and be it if it's me as an owner or the actual the work that I give them themselves, they love it. Like most of the guys that we've had come through, they absolutely love the work. So
that's encouraging to hear.
we our doors are open to anybody that wants to jump into the trade. I was also got in connection with, I think it was Notre Dame High School for, I forget the name of the course, sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the course, but it's when they come and they work for a day or so just to try it out, and then they decide if they want to be an electrician. They do this for plumbers, they do it for HVAC for a certain time frame. So our doors are open for anybody that wants to join the trade.
That's exciting to hear, because when I think of, the trades now, it is such an emerging field where, when I was growing up, going to university, it wasn't talked about as much, but now every second conversation, trades. So this is exciting to know that you're creating these opportunities to inspire and encourage other young individuals, I can't say just men, but young people to take up the trade. So that's amazing. Now, I want to understand, so when you are on the job, you're not just looking at homes, you're looking at commercial properties as well. Can you share some of those experiences with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started when I opened my company, we started with basement renovations, and we went to kitchen renovations, and we went to whole home renovations. Then we were able to get into custom home builders, which actually put us on the map to do the retirement home that's actually in Dundalk.
Amazing.
So we did the 4-story 80-unit retirement job out there.
That was with Flato, right?
That was with Flato Developments. That's right, yes. You see the signs everywhere up here.
Absolutely.
Yep, so they opened the door to new things, which when I opened my company, I always said, at the end of the day, I want to get back into where I came from, which is high-rise residential. And we actually just locked in our first contract for a high-rise project out in London 2 weeks ago.
Amazing.
So
it's so there's another whiskey celebration.
Exactly, yes. We finally came full circle.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, you talk about your team a lot. How do you keep your team inspired and motivated?
I like to show my face. I like to make sure the guys know that we spend so much time together that sometimes we become family because we're a work family. We try to make it a work family. So yeah, I can be hard on my guys sometimes, but I also let them know when they're appreciated as well. So once a year, we try to get together out in Mosport Racetrack, and we take the day off and we just go out and we basically race at Milesport Racetrack.
Wow.
And I let some of the suppliers that I know come out, and not really family or friends, but Stacy, my wife,
Yeah.
she obviously takes part as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, we try to do stuff to keep each other motivated and to stay with the company, obviously, because we've had our slow times. And you want to make sure that, you know, when business picks back up, you want to make sure that these guys that have been there for you come back.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we try to do fun stuff every now and then.
Okay, that's good. And when you have to think about, you know, your own well-being, what do you do to keep yourself, you know, at that same level of excellence and motivated?
Aside from seeing my wife and kids, when I need some personal time, I'm a gym guy. I like to stay as fit as I can. Getting older, you know, you want to make sure that you're still able to do the same work that you did when you were 20. So I want to still maintain the body. Plus, when I go there, it gives me time to think and detox and
Absolutely.
and just take everything in. All the projects that I have, I stay on the treadmill. I'll maybe do some emails and toss those things out. And yes, it's still work, but it's soothing for me.
Good.
So yeah, I try to stay at the gym. The gym is my oasis, let's say.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. I like that. And you touched on your two little girls, and you know, what message would you want to leave, or what legacy would you want to leave behind for them, and knowing that, you know, they're growing up, and who knows, maybe they'll enter the trades as well.
To be honest, they can do whatever they see their mind, whatever they set their mind to.
Yeah.
As long as if they do lock in on something that they want to do, that they're passionate about, don't give up. Okay, you're gonna have obstacles thrown your way. You're gonna have mountains to climb. You know, you're gonna have people that tell you can't do it, but it's you that decides if you can or cannot do it. If you let other people be negative towards you, you yourself will start being negative. So just focus on your dream, whatever that may be. I'll be there. Mommy will be there to make sure that we make it happen. So just stay on your path.
I love that. And, you know, I'm curious to find out, you know, how many times, I won't say if, how many times you've been told no throughout your career.
Oh, man. I don't think there's a number for it. Like, it's been high. Like, there's always somebody that wants to either stop you from succeeding.
Absolutely.
Or that wants what you want, so tries to sabotage what you have going for you. And you just got to put your blinders on and just look past it. The karma, I'm a strong believer in karma. What you put in the world gives back.
Yes.
And if you're putting all this negativity in the world, something's going to happen. Like something's going to come back tenfold on you. Yeah. So I think that just about answered that question.
Okay, I like that. Good answer. In terms of where do you see yourself going, you know, in the next 5-10 years? You know, what's your dream for Forest Electrical?
Ooh, so
I know, tough question.
It is a tough question because I, as much as you want to plan for the future, you know, I want to focus on the now. And right now, it's landing as many contracts as I see fit. I don't want to, you know, take work away from other electricians or anything like that. I just want to make sure that we want to be in the condo, the high-rise residential commercial trade, the sector. And 5-10 years from now, I'm hoping to have at least done maybe 10-15 towers between that time. Okay. You know, just to say that I like driving through GTA and seeing some of the towers that I did for other people, working for other companies. If I can drive through the GTA 5-10 years from now and be like, I did that, Forest Electrical did that, I'm happy.
That's amazing.
I've accomplished my goal.
Nice. And you have something special with condos. What is it with condos, high rise?
It's what I got into. As soon as I got in the trade, there's some people that do low rise, they do industrial, like your hospitals. But when I got into the trade at the time, I was sent to a condo downtown Toronto.
Wow.
It was blistering cold out, freezing. We did what's called slab work, and it was about 20 stories up. And when I got out there that first day, I looked at the city skyline. I just fell in love with what we were doing, where we were doing it, downtown Toronto, me being from Pickering in the East End, seeing all the concrete jungle that is downtown, I fell in love with it. And the work that they told me to do, I accomplished it with the utmost professionalism as I could. And I just loved it. Like I just took off from that. And if I can get back into that type of work, it's just, you're on the job for sometimes years.
Okay.
Like electricians are on the job. So it's steady work for a long period of time. So it's a little different than doing your custom homes, where a custom home could take 3-4 months. Some, depending on the severity of the custom home, it could take 6 months to a year. But a condo, that work is consistent for a long time.
Interesting. I would have never thought of electrical work taking years.
Yeah. Depending on the building, the size of the scale of the building, the underground, it takes quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Now, when I think about, or when you think about, growing up and young Sheldon in high school, what advice or life lesson would you want to give to young Sheldon?
If I were to see myself back in high school, I'd say, don't be a cop. Don't be a policeman. Just go for the trade. I honestly, I wouldn't change what I do for anything. I love what I do. I know there's a lot of other jobs out there that might pay more than mine, but I love electrical because it's always evolving. There's always rule changes. Every 3 years, the code book, the Ontario Electrical Code Book, has changes in it. So what you were doing for the past 3 years, it changes, and you might have to alter what you were doing. So I just like that the fact that it's not. It's different. It's always different. A lot of it's the same, but there's always something that they tweak.
Yeah.
And I like that about doing electrical.
That's exciting. And my last question for you is, Sheldon in foster care, what advice would you give to him? Like, I imagine you would say, stick with it. You will make something of yourself someday.
Although I am glad where I wouldn't be where I am
without that experience.
Without that experience. But if I were, if I were to see myself back in foster care, I'd tell myself run, because like I said, it wasn't a childhood that I would wish on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
And I did end up running away, but I would have just done it sooner.
Okay.
The only reason I didn't is because of my brothers.
Wow, very inspiring.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. It's absolutely amazing to hear your journey from foster care to building your own family, starting your own electrical empire. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations, and thank you for your time on the conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you so much for tuning in to In Conversation with Alethia. Special thank you to our logo sponsor, Town Teas, and our jewelry buy. Thank you so much.